Hi, it's Mike with AskTractorMike.com. I'm going to answer a question today that is not really from the viewer letter that I'm going to read, but I think it's important that we all understand the difference in classification of tractors between a compact tractor and a utility tractor. And there are 5 differences in my mind between compact tractors and utility tractors, and we'll talk about that today. We'll talk about where you would want a utility tractor versus a compact tractor. And we'll talk about what I think are the different manufacturers' compact tractors and which ones are their utility tractors. And then you can argue with me in the comments because I figure I'll get a little blowback on this. Well, let's first today get to the viewer letter that kind of prompted this. And I'm not going to actually answer the viewer letter today. It comes from Doug, and Doug has written me before, and I've used his letters on my show. But he says, is the quality of a utility tractor the same as a premium tractor, minus the bells and whistles? Or are they simply a lower quality machine, and is there a reason I'm not finding much recent information about them? Doug is shopping for a tractor, and he started out with compact tractors, and he's kind of moved up into the utility tractor end. And I'm going to talk a lot about Doug and what he's trying to do to try to help guide him in the right direction. But he asked about utility tractors, and let's get that straight today. In the different classes of tractors, there are compact tractors and subcompacts. And to me, they're all kind of in the same group. And the way you can tell the difference, a subcompact tractor will have a 4-foot bucket on the front of it and probably be designed to pull a 4-foot brush hog. A compact tractor will have a 5-foot or a 6-foot bucket on the front of it and have the corresponding 5 or 6-foot brush hog. So that's the difference between a subcompact and a compact, and they're all in the compact class. But when you get to the upper end of the compact tractors, what's the difference between a compact tractor and a utility tractor? Well, what's the end use difference in the two? Let's talk about that first today. And when would you want a utility tractor versus a compact tractor? And before we get started today, all of these lines are really blurred right now. It's not always the case, and a lot of these rules that I'm going to give you are get broken by certain manufacturers. The easy way to define the difference between a compact tractor and a utility tractor is what they're used for. A compact tractor, not always, but generally, is for guys like me. People that have moved out to the country, they want a small tractor to maintain their acreage, haul a little dirt around, brush hog, haul some brush, that type of thing. But we're not actually making a living with a compact tractor. A utility tractor, usually, not always, is bought by somebody that at one time or another is going to derive some income from that tractor. So that's the difference in end use. I grew up on an apple orchard. We always had utility tractors that we made our living with, somewhere between 45 and 60 horsepower. Now in the old days, it was really easy to tell the difference. The utility tractors were a bigger physical tractor than a compact. They just looked different. And they came from either the U.S. early or later Europe. And the compact tractors were smaller, and they came from Japan and later South Korea. But that's all kind of fuzzy now because the manufacturers in Japan and South Korea have started offering bigger tractors, and they creep into the utility tractor classification. Kubota started a few years ago making bigger tractors, and some of them are definitely not compacts. They're in that utility area where you could use them for making a living. So let's talk about 5 things today that kind of differentiate a compact tractor versus a utility tractor. And if you're looking at a new one or a used one, you'll know. And at the end, I'm going to tell you what, in my mind, the manufacturers are offering today, which ones are utility tractors and which ones are compact tractors. So first today, the easiest way to tell on several of the manufacturers about which ones of their offering are compact tractors versus utility tractors is where they're made. Like for instance, John Deere. Their smaller tractors have a Yanmar engine in them, made in Japan. Their utility tractors have John Deere engines in them, made in wherever Deere makes engines. Could be the US, but probably in Europe somewhere. And that's the same with some other manufacturers. New Holland has a compact tractor that's built in South Korea. Their bigger tractors are built in their factories in other parts of the world. So where they're made, that's number one, can kind of tell you where the tractor lights in that compact or utility tractor area. Now, of course, with Kubota, Coyote, Mahindra, LS, some of these other manufacturers, they may all be built in the same plant. And so that's not always true. The second reason you can tell a compact tractor from a utility tractor, generally, but not always, is the transmission. A compact tractor will almost always have a hydrostatic option. A utility tractor will almost never have a hydrostatic option. They'll almost all be gear drive or gear shift transmissions. Now, some of them will be power shuttles or some kind of a shuttle that you can shift, and some of them will be just an old basic transmission that's not synchronized. But that's the way you can usually tell. The compact tractors almost always have that hydrostatic option. They'll usually have a gear option as well, but the utility tractors almost never offer a hydro. Now, Kubota offers an MX series. It's definitely a utility tractor that has a hydrostatic drive transmission. So again, these aren't always true. The next way you can tell the difference between a compact tractor and a utility tractor is the ability to get one in two-wheel drive. Not always. Most of the compact tractors, and this is, let me tell you, don't ever buy a compact tractor that's two-wheel drive because they're worthless. They don't have enough physical weight to give good traction. So if you're buying a compact tractor, they're almost always four-wheel drive. If you're buying a utility tractor, there's enough weight in the tractor that they can still maintain good traction with two-wheel drive. So if there is a two-wheel drive option available, on all the manufacturers I know of today, it's a utility tractor versus a compact tractor. And many times, they'll push that two-wheel drive option to keep the cost down. Now, the fourth way to tell a compact tractor from a utility tractor, and this is probably the biggest one, is weight. A compact tractor is going to weigh around 1,500 to 2,500 pounds without a loader. A utility tractor will weigh probably 800 to 1,000 pounds or more than the compact tractor. And the fifth way to tell a compact tractor from a utility tractor relates to number 4, and that is lift capacity of the front end loader. A compact tractor will generally have a front lift capacity of up to 2,000 pounds. Some of the bigger ones may have up to 22, 23, 24, 2,500 in that range at the pins to full height. A utility tractor usually will have much more lift capacity than that because you've got a heavier tractor with a heavier front end loader. Now you got to be a little careful. I'll tell you what, some of the manufacturers are doing some sneaky things. They're putting compact tractor loaders on utility tractors, and it really drops the lift capacity. They'll offer a deluxe loader that picks up what the tractor can pick up safely, and then they'll offer a cheaper option of a compact tractor loader on a utility tractor. They look funny and they really waste a lot of the abilities of the tractor, so I would steer clear of those. Well, that's the difference between a compact tractor and a utility tractor, and now let's go through each manufacturer and I'll tell you which tractors they offer that I think are compact tractors and which one are utility tractors. And then you can roast me in the comments because some of you are going to disagree, but let's get started. Let's start with John Deere. John Deere's 1 through 4 series tractors are all compacts. I know they're compacts because they list them on the lawn and garden section of their website, also in the ag section too. Now they do have a new 4075 that's got 75 engine horsepower. It's still a compact. It's a big compact, but it's still a compact. Anything in the 5 series and up is a utility tractor. Kubota is pretty easy to tell the difference. Kubota's B, LX series, and L series are all compact tractors. Their M series and up are utility tractors. Mahindra kind of skews everything. They've got a series that kind of splits the difference. Mahindra Max and 1600 are all compacts. The 2600 series up to a 2645 are compact tractors. They're 2660 and above, and they're 4500 on up. All the ones with bigger numbers, in my mind, are utility tractors. In the new Holland brand, all of the boomers are compacts, and the Workmaster tractors, 40 horsepower and below, are compacts. Anything above a Workmaster 40 and the rest of their line are utilities. Case, they have the Farmall line, and they've got A and C tractors, Farmall's A's and C's that are compacts, and Farmall A and C's that are utilities. And they differentiate the difference between the two, and I won't go against that. In the LS tractor line, anything up to an MT3 is a compact. MT4s and above are utility tractors. I used to work for Massey Ferguson, and their numbers have always been kind of funky. They've got a 2800 series that's technically a compact, and the 1600 series and down are compacts. They've got a 2600 series, lower number than the 2800, but the 2600 and then everything above the 2800 is a utility tractor. TYM is pretty hard to tell because they've just absorbed the Branson line and they're still kind of getting their numbers all worked out. But in my mind, a T4 up to the 5500 series is a compact, and the T5 series and the 5800s and larger are utility tractors. In Coyotes, up to an NX series is a compact, and an RX series and up is a utility tractor. Now the NX series Coyote has got a lot of lift capacity. It's a kind of a hybrid in between the two. And finally today, the guys at Yanmar only offer compact tractors. Wouldn't surprise me someday if that changes. So if you're shopping for a tractor, that'll kind of tell you the difference between compact tractors and utility tractors. And we'll answer Doug's question another time. If you're looking to do a little farming, you probably want a utility tractor or possibly a bigger one. Thanks for watching.